Thanks for tuning into this episode of Through Jeremiah's Eyes. Today I am joined by a great friend and very creative mind. We're going to be talking about where we think that the end of our imaginations lie. We also ponder the questions in life surrounding potential and discuss how to fill our potential to the maximum capacity, if there even is a quote unquote set capacity. So Amaya, if you could introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Amaya Brinson. I am a junior applied mathematics student at North Carolina A&T State University. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm excited for the conversation today.
Thank you for joining me. So just to start off, what types of things did you do while you were growing up? What are your favorite activities, pastimes?
When I was growing up, I always was into art. So I was always drawing. Like even in the car, I would get in the car and then I'll bring my sketchbook and I was drawing in the front seat. And then I would get a headache because I was focusing too much. I really played with my siblings a lot. Read books. Basically it was really family oriented, really. So a lot of my time was spent with them, I would say.
Have you always been a creative?
Yes. Literally, I remember my grandma, it's funny, she actually kept my first drawing ever. I know that's so random, but it was such a grandma thing to do. Like, she has my first drawing and it's literally lines of different colors. And it just like thing. And then she helped me write my name for the first time. And it says like Amaya in really bad handwriting. But literally, yeah. And she always would tell me, she's like, yeah, you got that from your granddad because he would always be drawing little pictures and stuff. So from as long as I can remember, I was always doing some art stuff.
Is that your favorite way of like expressing yourself?
Definitely. I just feel like there's a lot of things that can be understood from art, especially visual art, because it's not necessarily something you hear. So someone's actively, like you hear a song, so the words kind of like set the vibe or whatever the message is you're talking about. But I feel like you can really express emotion through like art and stuff, visual art. I want to specify because you can definitely express emotion through other mediums of art too. But I really found it easy to express myself from there, especially just because I feel like people can relate to it in their own way, but it's not necessarily exactly my exact situation I'm going through, but they can relate to it and apply it to themselves. So whatever they interpret it as is probably, they can see themselves in my art, basically. So I like that.
I was gonna say like visual art is something that you can like, no matter who looks at it, everybody's gonna look at it in some completely different way. Everybody interprets it differently based off of what they've been through, whatever is going on. Mostly what's going on in the moment.
Exactly. I agree.
It's just something that I don't know. It means different stuff to different people. But what was I about to say? Some ways that I like expressing my creativity. One, this podcast. I like when I'm like producing the podcast, so like trying to map out in my head and then writing down like how I expect it to go. Yeah. And then being able to be like, oh, this would be cool to be able to prick this person's mind on this, and then maybe the audience will like this, like all that different type of stuff. I love doing that. I remember in like, I think it was 6th grade, some of my first Instagram posts were of me I would watch a YouTube video on how to draw an animal, and then I would draw an animal in my sketchbook, and then I would post it on Instagram, and I thought it was cool.
I love that! No, that's great. That's literally great.
Oh, that was one way that I expressed myself, but I feel like the main way that I did was by playing the cello, which I did throughout middle and high school, which was like probably like my... Shout
out to you. See, cello players reunite. Yes. Because I definitely play the cello too. I think it's such a beautiful instrument. Yeah. Because even just like, obviously it's like it's in bass clef, so it's like has a lower register, but also the high register on the cello it's just, it has that sweet spot to it. You know, it's just like, it sounds different than if a violinist is playing it, because it's like, okay, your instrument was really built for it to play in this upper register, but this bigger, hefty instrument, and then it's played in that upper register, and it's just like, wow, that's beautiful. It's like hearing someone with such a sultry voice, like sing in their upper register. It sounds like that to me, that same type of feeling. So yeah, that's good.
Soulful vibe.
Yes.
I love it.
And I love, like, I don't know, sharing people's art. I don't know, or being there when people are sharing their art. So just even this, like you saying your podcast, like this is like your form of expressing yourself in your art. I love that, and I love being a part of that, because it's like, I know it's that, I just know what the satisfaction feels like, and I would love to be a part of that with people that I am close with or like have a good relationship with. So
I feel you, because it's a way that if you're not expressing explicitly through like words, even words though can get interpreted differently by different people, but like everybody's art, I feel like it shows a different side to the person than just if you talk to them about something. Exactly. As opposed to if they're like playing an instrument, then it's like, I don't know, I feel like you can like feel the emotion and everything through the sound.
I definitely agree to that. Because even if you think about, like, you can play your instrument differently. Like, okay, this is more of aggressive, like, or if I'm like angry, I can just, I can play more aggressively, or if I'm just sad, I can play more like, oh, I'm kind of like in my feelings, or just happy, excited, abundant, whatever. I just feel like it's a different way to connect to that person on a different level than just whatever they give you on a day-to-day basis. Because like, you guys could still be talking about school or like family, and that's a different connection type too. But you know, getting to know someone, but connecting to someone through their art, I feel like you're reaching them in their essence, you know, like in their core. So I just think that's cool.
And speaking on creativity, where do you think that our imaginations lie? Or do you think that there's an end to our imaginations?
I think that it's different for every person, but ultimately, I don't know. I just feel like there is no end unless you make it that way. Like, it can stretch as long as you take it. So, you know, however far you want to take your imagination, whatever you want to think, whatever you want to dream, whatever your heart's desires are, that is ultimately up to you. I feel like it's just different for every person, and people will be like, oh, I just feel like you have a like greater imagination than me. And it's like, I feel like, yes, there might be some truth to that statement, but I just don't think that's the correct phrase for it, you know? Like, I think I don't necessarily have a greater imagination than you. I think that I'm just taking my imagination longer than you, or I haven't given up on it. Like, I think every person has the same amount of imagination, you know? It's just whether you want to close that door or you want to leave it open. So I don't know. That's really how I feel about that.
I feel like the exact same way. Like, I'm like, in every situation, no matter what it is, if you want to be a billionaire, if you want to solve world hunger, if you want to eliminate every piece of trash and whatever, like, the fact that I can think of ways that it can happen, I feel like then it's possible for it to happen. And I feel like the fact that everybody can think of different ways to solve different problems, for the most part, it shows that everybody has an imagination. It's just, are you going to tap into it?
Exactly.
Or are you not going
it's
to?
It's literally what you make it. Just like, you know, any skill, you exercise it or you utilize it. If you don't utilize it, it'll dwindle away. If you do, then it'll flourish and grow in ways you could never even imagine. So, I don't know. I really can relate to that. I just feel like you can quite literally do anything that you want to do ever in life. And whether that be like, I want to like become like the world's greatest ski person. I don't even know what that ski is.
Skier? I don't know.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. But like that, or just do something you've never done before. Just whatever you want to do, I think you can do it, no matter how anybody else feels about it. Like, forget what anybody else thinks about it. I think you can literally do whatever you put your mind to.
So do you think that anything is impossible?
My immediate answer is no. And then I'm like trying to think of things in my brain, like, is there really something that's like impossible? I don't think unless it's just something that quite literally, I guess, just scientifically, that's just not a thing that's possible. But no, maybe even then I don't think so. Yeah. Actually, no, my answer is no. Because one, science doesn't know everything. They really don't. Like,
and then we find stuff out, and then it's like...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, they don't even know everything about us. They don't even know everything about humans. They don't even know everything about what is on this planet. Yeah. So you're telling me that, like, I can't end up being able to fly one day? I know that's a stretch. I'm not saying that humans will probably even be able to do that in, like, the next, maybe even 100 years. Yeah. But, like... even something that wild to us, like, to imagine, you never know in the future, like, yeah, I can fly. What? Like, you know, y'all can't fly, you know? So, I don't know. I don't think anything's impossible. Yeah. I don't think so.
I don't think I found anything that I think is impossible either. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a weird balance, because it's like, no matter what I do, I think it's possible to do it, and I'll make sure I'll work towards it. Yeah. And then I'll want it to happen. So then usually, as long as I'm doing what I need to, it happens. So it's like, right, how far can I actually take
this? Yeah. Right. Because I don't think anything is impossible. I think that we just think it is, or thinks that some things are unattainable. But I think that's just because our brains have never, like, thought about something, or can't fathom whatever to you is impossible, right? Yeah. Like, so some people, they're like, it's impossible for me to ever be a millionaire. But I don't think it's impossible for them to ever be a millionaire. I just think that they can't fathom what it's like for them to be a millionaire. So their brain can't comprehend that. So they're like, okay, well, I can't do that. Yeah, no, but it's really not even that. You're just have closed that door, you know, on yourself. Yeah. But I mean, I don't think that, well, no, I was going to say, I don't think anyone starts off as a millionaire. Some people are born into it, so let me not say that. But, like, there's definitely success stories, you know, like, there's definitely, okay, I had to work to get to this or whatever. Or I may not have started in this ideal type situation, but let me stop moving. But I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't think anything is impossible. I think you have to will it for yourself.
Yeah.
And really it just comes down to that. Do you want it bad enough? Do you will it for yourself? And like we had kind of started talking about before, I feel like that's what modern day manifestation is. Like, people are really kind of getting on this wave, like, I manifest this for myself. And people be making fun of that, y'all. But, like, I'm not going to say, like, I'm the person to be like, yeah, go ahead and, like, manifest it for yourself. Blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, but if that's what you want to call it, manifest it for yourself. Yeah. Like, or will it for yourself, or want that for yourself. I think that you can literally have anything or do anything. If you want to get the job, you want to do well on that interview, you're like, I'm going to do well on this interview. Yeah. And you will. Like, things come into fruition. And then even if you think spiritually, or if you're into religion, like they say there's power in the tongue. So if you speak it into existence, it will be. Yeah. So I feel like you can take that in whatever avenue you want to apply to. But yeah, you can quite literally do whatever you want to do, and you can get things out of life that you want if you just
That's literally my motto, and I feel like the manifesting thing is kind of right now. It's, of course, you just say something over and over, it may not happen, but when you're doing that, I feel like it's reinforcing in your brain that this is possible. I can do this. I want this. So then your actions change because you're able to verbalize that.
Yes.
Sorry, to believe it. It's like, you can call it whatever you want.
Exactly. You can call it whatever you want. I think that, like, to your point, I think saying it over and over, people like, I think it's really opening those doors for people that, for them, they closed like 10 years ago, or however long ago it was. I think that saying things like positive affirmation, that's definitely a thing, you know, saying like, I will ace this test, I will do well on this, I will be able to become whatever I want to become. I think it just opens those doors, opens that imagination for yourself. And it's like, oh yeah, my imagination doesn't end here. It never ended. I just was like, okay, I'm going to close that door. But if you open it up, who knows what you can do?
Exactly.
Like, you don't even know what you can do. So, I mean, why not go for it?
When you think that, like, door starts getting closed, you think it's because of just, like, a life and everything? Because kids, you ask them what they want to do. They're like, oh, I want to do whatever. Like, I want to be an astronaut. I'll be a president. Whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
And people may not believe them, but they have that imagination. And they're just like, I guess, ignorant in quotes, ignorance is bliss. Yeah. Because then they just believe that they can do whatever. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's like power in that because
there definitely is power in that. And I think obviously life throws at you, like, you know, as you get older, different things happen. So there might be a multitude of reasons why that door closed for you, air quotation. But I really do think that, I don't know, us as kids, we had to figure it out. I'm just saying, like, we may not have known how to freaking drive a car, but, like, we knew what we wanted. We knew what we liked. We knew what we didn't like.
And we weren't afraid to express it.
Yeah, exactly. We were free to express it. I'm not saying that we should just be in this childlike, you know, bubble forever, because you definitely, you know, you live and you learn and you grow and you expand. And there's definitely power in growth. But I just feel like there's a lot of things that children do that we kind of just left behind, but that needed to stay with us the whole time. Like imagination, like dream your heart's wildest desires. I think that's so beautiful. And that's why when people, you know, you look at a baby and you're like, oh, they're so innocent, or like, oh, they're dreaming whatever. Oh, I want to be an astronaut. Like, it's cute and it's like endearing and warming, but it's like, you can still have that feeling for yourself, you know? Like, it didn't just stop because now I'm 21, you know? So, I don't know. I don't know what the question was, probably. But
just off the top of my head.
But yeah, I just think that life really just be lifing, and that's why the doors close for them, because I think they just let circumstance get to them. And I'm not saying that that doesn't happen to all of us, because it does. It gets us down in the dumps. But I think we just have to actively combat that, because, you know, you just have to know, like, you are not your situation, or you are not limited to your situation. Even that, like, even though this may be how life is for me right now, I still have the same amount of potential as I did when I was a child. And I can still reach whatever goals I have. I can still get, you know, win a Grammy or whatever I wanted to do when I was, or be the world's greatest artist. I can still be the world's greatest artist. That's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. I wanted to do a lot of things, actually. And then I realized, and I want it to be clear, like, I feel like there's a difference between, okay, like letting go of a dream because you just realize that it's not for you, and then giving up on a dream altogether. Yeah. You know, because it's like, as we grow older, we're like, I actually don't want to be an astronaut, but I still do want to be rich. You know, like, so you might become, like, find more clarity of what you actually want to do in life, and that's definitely great. But, you know, I don't think we should ever give up on the things that our actual, like, soul wants for ourselves, because, you know, that's what gives us happiness. So if you give up on your imagination, if you give up on those dreams, then, like, what's left for giving you? Like, giving to you. And I feel like that's why, especially, like, these times too, like, you know, a lot of us, our generation be going through it. No doubt. And I just think we kind of just let all of that get to us and stuff. But I think we let that get to us, but we really shouldn't. We really just shouldn't.
Everybody got to get through it.
Yes.
Everybody goes through life. It's just a matter of how we're about to deal with it and what we're about to make out of it. Because I don't know. Everybody goes through different things. Everybody has different situations that they have to go through. Everybody has different obstacles, trials, tribulations, all that type of stuff. Yeah. But at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? Are you about to give up,
Exactly.
Or are you about to believe that you can have better for yourself and that you can be happy at the end of the day?
Exactly.
So it's like, if you can do that to get out of a situation, you do that with anything. That just shows that it's possible.
And then once you get over that barrier, then like, who knows? Like, literally, the world is quite literally here for us to just thrive. And just live and be happy. I think that there's a lot of like purpose in that. Like, a lot of people, you know, we've gotten a lot of questions being like, oh, what's your purpose? And like, whatever. But you may not always know the answer, or for even the people that do know their answer or their purpose, I feel like it always goes back to like their happiness. Because ultimately you might have like a very detail oriented specific purpose that you think your purpose is in life, but when I always just think about mine, when someone asks me, I think mine is just to be genuinely happy and spread that. And if I have the power to like help someone unlock their happiness, I think that's what I'm like here for. Like, I want to be genuinely happy, and I want everyone else to do the same. And that may sound naive or unrealistic, but that's literally all there is to it. And like I was saying, like, more people have more specific, like, oh, I think that I'm supposed to like end world hunger, and that's gonna, you know, that's for them. But ultimately, if that's their purpose, they're doing that because to them that will give them happiness. So I think that everyone's purpose is to just find that for themselves. So
find fulfillment in life.
Yes, fulfillment in life.
So what do you believe that your potential is?
Like my specific potential, or like general?
However you take it.
What's my potential? I don't know. I'm just gonna like answer what just comes to my brain. I think that my potential is just abundant. And not even in a way like, oh, I think I'm better than everybody. I think everyone's potential is abundant. I think it's just, do you tap into it? Do you not? Going back to that other stuff that we were talking about too. But I think my specific potential is abundant because I think that whatever I put my mind to, I'll be good at it. And so even like with my art, sometimes I'll be slacking, but I really think there's a lot of potential in that. I think there's a lot of potential in that because I feel like I've been blessed like through my hands and my mind. And I think that that's just too much of a blessing to not share with the world. Like, it's just too much of a blessing because, you know, many people don't be able to like say that. They're like, dang, I can't draw or nothing, whatever. But, you know, they might be like the best singer though. So like their potential is in freaking singing. So, you know, I don't know. So I think potential is abundant. It's just that, do you utilize that potential, or do you just recognize it's there, or do you just not know it's there at all? So
I feel that wholeheartedly. Like everybody has different gifts, everybody's blessed with different talents and everything, but that's what makes everybody different. If everybody was blessed in the same thing, that would be
so boring.
It's weird. And then also one of the other points that you said, they feel like your potential is abundant, but not in a way that you think that you're better than everybody. I feel that same way. And it's like, it's weird because I'm like, I feel like I can accomplish anything, but a lot of people don't have that mindset. So when I say that, I feel like it, it's like, should I be saying this? Like, I don't want to come off as I'm better than everybody else. I can do whatever I want to, but that's just my mindset. I'm not saying it in like a bad way. I think you can do the exact same thing.
Exactly. I think you can do the exact same thing. And I think really where that comes from is I just think that society has to get comfortable with that idea. So like, usually it's not the norm. Like, usually, obviously there's people that's like, yeah, I think I have abundant amount of potential. But then some people are like, haven't really, you know, dealt with that with themselves and their brain. So they're kind of just like, well, I don't even know if I have potential at all. So to them, it might be like, dang, well, they over here and they just got an abundant amount of potential and I don't have none. Like, no, it's really not even that. It's just that I want you to get to the point where you look at yourself or even life the same way I do. And I'm not saying, well, let me rephrase that. I don't think you should have to look at it the same way I do, because that's unrealistic. I just think that there's like certain ideals that you can accept for yourself that, like, I don't know, unlock doors for everything that you can apply to life. So if you can just get to that point, I think that won't even be a topic anymore. Like, we won't even be like, dang, should I even say that I just have abundant potential? Because, you know, I just really am feeling like I just got infinite amounts. Yeah. And I think that should be something that we shouldn't be ashamed of, honestly. Because, I mean, what's wrong with that? It's literally not harming anyone. It's literally not tearing anyone down. It's literally just an uplift for yourself. And I feel like everyone should have that for themselves. And whether that be they think they have an abundant amount of potential, if they think they have an abundant amount of, like, I don't know, singing nicely or whatever the case may be, like, if you have that power to authentically believe in yourself and uplift yourself, then I think that just unlocks a whole new, like, playing field for you in life, just in general. It changes your perspective. Yeah, like, just in general. So, and I'm not saying it's easy. So for all y'all out there, I'm not saying that I was just like, yeah, I just always knew I had this abundant potential. It's not something that I had for, like, ever. But I don't know. I definitely feel like when you get there, you're just different. You're just different. I literally feel different. Like, ever. And I can't even explain when I was like, realized that I had an abundant amount of potential, or like realized that I could do whatever I wanted to do in life. But whenever it did happen, like, you just never go back. It's just, it's so different. It's life literally is different to you. And I can definitely feel that. So
I feel that 100%. What do you think was holding you back, like, before? Like, from realizing what you were capable of? What, other people's opinions? Or?
Yeah, I definitely think other people's opinions, social media, which is definitely something I would definitely like to touch on, because really probably overthinking in a nutshell. If I could, like, lump sum it all, I would say overthinking. And sometimes I do still struggle with that, because I definitely define myself as an overthinker. I still do it. And I think there's pluses and minuses to overthinking. Because I think good things can come out of overthinking, because you can be thorough with whatever you're doing in life. Because whatever I do in life, whatever I put my name to or whatever I go after, I want to make sure that, like, you know, I'm prepared, I'm doing it wholeheartedly, I'm doing it authentically, and, like, that, you know, it's whatever is best for me. But also, on the same token, overthinking can really be bad just when, I think it goes bad when you allow it to be controlled by other people other than you.
Yeah.
So, like, if the other overthinking is, like, something about yourself, I think that can be positive, because I think that reflection and thinking about things thoroughly is very important. But the second that you let other people's opinions or, like, whatever they're thinking or saying to you drive that, then I feel like that's when it becomes a problem. Because now it's like you're not doing something you're trying to do something that's good for you. You're trying to do something for them so that they look at you a certain way. But what if the way that they, like, are trying to look at you is not beneficial to you? So then it's like, well, what's the purpose in that? Because I don't know, I just don't see purpose in doing things or, like, I don't know, entertaining things that don't serve you. Because ultimately, what is the benefit? And that sounds selfish. It literally sounds selfish, but it's not even in a way of like, oh, I can't do things for other people, because I definitely can. Like, I want to give you a ride to school today. That's, you know, and ultimately that might even be something for me too, because I might just be like, I want to give a ride to my friend, because that's my friend and I want to ride to school with them. But not even like that. But when you, I don't know, just allow other people to drive your life
nothing good comes out of
it. Nothing. Literally nothing. So I guess what I should say to that is like, stop caring what people think. Like it literally, if it matters to you, if it benefits you, if you feel great about it, that's quite literally all that matters.
Yeah.
Like literally, because this is your life and you're the only one living in it. So like there's other people here and they're here aiding and they're a part of our experience, but ultimately they're not going to feel what you feel.
Yeah.
They're not going to have to go through what you go through. So if you spend your life trying to please and like conform yourself to them, it's like all for nothing. Because it's like ultimately you're left with what?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing good that came out of that, and you're left with this like horrible, miserable life, and you're just overthinking, and just nothing good comes from overthinking. And I don't know. I just feel like that's another one of those things you have to actively like
work on.
Yeah, and combat, and just not even work on, just cap it, because it's like I said, like there's good overthinking. Yeah. So it's really just either extreme. It's just let's find a good middle ground,
a good medium.
So we can overthink about these things, maybe not so much about these things, and put on that.
I agree. Vocab word of the day: metacognition. Thinking about thinking.
You taught me something. I like that.
You think every day, but
metacognition.
Thinking about thinking. They teach it in for my entrepreneurship classes. That's one of the things that they like.
I like that word.
20 minutes on it, like talking about metacognition and how like overthinking. It has like this bad connotation behind it.
Yeah.
But in reality, if you're not thinking in a way about like certain things, like if you do this, then what could happen, but not going like super far into it.
Exactly.
But like it's still useful to be thinking about what could happen in the future and trying to make like contingency plans or thinking about what could happen next. Because if you're not thinking about what's going to happen next, then you're just about to be living life like nothing matters, but a lot of stuff doesn't matter.
Right. And that just made me think about something. Like another thing, a reason why overthinking is not worth it, or worrying about what other people quote unquote think, is because 9 times out of 10, they're not thinking about it. So whatever you're like stressed about or overthinking about, like sometimes I'll be like, dang, like I have some paint. Like sometimes I'll be coming from art class, and so I'm like in a painting class and I'll have like paint on me, or sometimes it'll still be on my clothes. And I'm like, dang, I really shouldn't walk through the student center because people don't think like exactly. But really nobody notices to think that it's there or that it's there except for you. You just are hyper aware of yourself. So just, I guess I kind of like found comfort in overthinking by realizing that literally everybody else is doing it. So just like I'm hyper thinking about myself, that's exactly what everyone else is doing. So they really don't have much extra to think about what you got going on. So it's like that kind of really helped me, I guess, kind of just turn the tides on overthinking. And I still do it sometimes, of course, but like that really helped, because it's like, hey, if I'm not really thinking about whatever, because when you always hear your friends like overthinking about something, you're like, no, convincing, like don't overthink about that, like nobody's thinking that, and it's like obviously it's easier to tell someone than when you're going through it, but then really just sit when you're in a moment helping a friend or like telling them not to overthink. Literally just try to think about that when it's happening to you, because it's like literally how you weren't even thinking about whatever they're probably overthinking about, no one knows either. Honestly, humans are a little too self-absorbed for that. Like, and I mean, within reason, because like we just were talking about this whole time, like, people are focused on yourself, focus on fulfilling what is fulfilling to you. So honestly, if like paint being on my clothes is not fulfilling to someone else, I wouldn't think about that either. So why should I? Because it's not affecting them. It's only making me overthink. So I should just let that go to the universe because it doesn't matter. Ultimately, a lot of things don't matter. I guess that's what I'm getting at. A lot of things really just don't matter.
How do you get to that, like, mindset? Was it like a confidence thing?
I think confidence has something to do with it. Probably confidence, realizing that, I don't know, I probably just having higher goals for myself too, or like just looking holistically at life. It really goes back to when I had said like, oh, you just look at life differently. Like you said, like when you just have that for yourself, then you really notice the things in life that just don't matter. Yeah. And I'm not saying that everything just doesn't matter, but like there's definitely things in life that it's like, that's quite literally not worth overthinking. Yeah. So that's another thing that helped me with overthinking too. You have to kind of ask yourself, is whatever I'm overthinking worth overthinking? Like, is it worth me spending time overthinking about this and I could be like helping fulfill my purpose or find my happiness? Or even if it's not that, or even if you're not actively pursuing your purpose, which, because you don't have to do that 24/7. You don't have to try to actively fulfill your purpose 24/7. That's unrealistic. Yeah. But like, could I be doing something else that's just giving me happiness? It could just be as basic as that. Like, do I want to watch this new episode because I like the characters and I like the plot line? Yeah. So it's like stimulating my brain, you know, just stuff like that. So I think that definitely helped with noticing that things don't matter, because it's just like, what value does that add? And if it doesn't add anything to you, then it probably doesn't matter. Yeah. So that's kind of like my little gauge. It's like, is this worth like overthinking, or is this worth feeling, even having a certain emotion to something? And I know sometimes, I don't know, sometimes people could call it like harsh or like, oh, you just don't care about me, or you don't care about whatever. And it's not even that I don't care about, well, it is that I don't care. But it's just that, I don't know, little things, I just don't allow that to have power over whatever else I got going on. Like it shouldn't really. So I think that's where like humans and kind of like people our age and modern whatever kind of just went wrong, because we allow certain things that really don't matter have power, or we've given power to things that should never have had that much power. Like even like phones, social media, we were talking about, like different things, comparisons. You're giving power to things that should have never had power over you. And then we're just kind of like down this rabbit hole, like, oh, whatever. And that's why a lot of overthinking comes from too. Comparison, social media, and stuff like that. Feature from Mila, you know, shout out to her. But I think that a lot of that is interconnected, like overthinking things that don't really matter in life, allowing things to have power, having confidence in yourself. Like a lot of that is like around the same central theme. They just kind of, you have to maneuver through each of the smaller like ideas within that. So
I like that. Kind of like a pivot, but why do you think that we dream?
I think there's a lot of reasons. I don't think there's one sole reason.
What do you think those reasons are?
I think that one of the reasons is like your soul communicating to you your heart's desires. So sometimes there's things that you probably don't even know that you want in life, or like things that seem unachievable. So it's like, oh, it's my wildest dream. Yeah. You know, but it's like, it's not necessarily your wildest dream. It's just back to us saying like, oh, you just can't necessarily fathom that for yourself, but it's something that you probably want for yourself. Yeah. So I think that that's one of the reasons. It's a way of our essence or our soul communicating to us that this is something, hey, like this is something like I want for myself. Yeah. I also think it delivers messages, like maybe, like life has a good way of like having like just checks and balances just in general. Like somehow that's just how it is. But like maybe if something really isn't serving you, like it's not really in your best interest, I feel like dreams can be in a way of like your subconscious telling you like, nah, this is not it. You need to like pivot, go down this route,
Yeah.
So there's definitely things like that. Also like communication within humans. I think that there's definitely some connection there. Like, I don't know, some people be like, wow, I feel like I'm in a dream right now, or oh wow, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's definitely connection in that, but mostly I think that dreams in the sense of like our topic that we're talking about now, I think that it's a way for communication. Overarching, okay, I'm gonna just say communication. Because that's what I've said in all three of those little ideas. Like, it's communication within self, communication within
life and
self, and
others.
Then like in with others. Yeah, I think it's the point of dreams is communication. Yeah, and I never really thought about it that way until I said it just now. So I don't know. I'm really appreciating this conversation because there's a lot of things that I guess it's just how I thought, but I never knew I thought that way until I said it out loud. So, yeah.
This is what I like.
That's what I'm saying. I definitely appreciate it for sure.
I was gonna second what you were saying about the whole communication thing. I'm literally on all 3 points, especially the one about communicating with self, because I feel like that's your subconscious self being like, you're not worrying about anything that's happening in the real world.
Right.
You're just or like physical sleep. You're just worried about what's happening in this dream world. Mm-hmm. But that's actually what you're thinking of when you're not thinking of everything else that's happening in life. It's like, that's pure you. And of course there are nightmares and stuff. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. That's why I said checks and balances. So I was like, life.
But I don't really know. I feel like that's like your unconscious mind just being like, yeah, that's what I want.
Definitely.
Like, say you want to be, you said an astronaut all the time, but you want to be an astronaut, so then you're having dreams about like, or say you used to want to be an astronaut, and then now you're on this path, and you don't even really want to be doing it. Mm-hmm. But then you keep on having dreams about wanting to be an astronaut. Mm-hmm. Because that's your mind telling you that's what you want to do. That's your mind telling you that's what you want to do. So then go for it. It's happening for a reason.
Right.
I also think
it's happening for a reason.
I also think that everything happens for a reason.
Definitely.
Whether you notice it or don't notice it, I feel like everything happens for a reason. Which is why in retrospect, in a lot of situations, you're like, oh, I should have seen this coming. Mm-hmm. I should have known that this was happening. Yeah. And also why when you talk to your friends about something, they're like, what are you doing? You need to do this. Right. Like, you know what to do. Yeah. But do you actually do it?
I agree. Exactly. And I think to your point, like, I think there's a lot of answers in life in general, or just things that we should have noticed if you just look for them, or if you just take the time to really like absorb what's going on around you, or like the outcomes of certain decisions you make, or like the outcomes of certain, like, just things that happen to you. Like, I literally agree. I think everything happens for a reason. Literally everything. Even us having this conversation. Yeah. Like, you never know. Like, this might spark some type of inspiration. Even now, I just feel like inspired. So, I don't know. I just think, yeah, I agree with you. That's basically it. I just agree with you. Everything happens for a reason.
That's the goal of the whole, like, this whole podcast, everything. It's just, I hope that conversation will be able to, somebody will take something from it, and then it inspire them to be like, I should do this. So you learn something, and you're like, develop, grow.
Exactly, because
dream, make stuff happen.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely like transactions throughout life, and there's definitely negative transactions, but there's also positive transactions. But either way, negative or positive, you can learn something from both. And like you said, it happened for a reason. Yeah. So even just like hearing that, I just love that, because it's just like, you never know. Me talking with Jeremiah today, like, maybe, I don't know, even if you don't get inspired, I really don't care, because it made me happy, and
Hopefully somebody got inspired.
Exactly, because somebody might hear this and be like, man, she was really spitting. So,
I saw one person. Just one person.
That's all it takes, because one person can inspire 2 people, and then 2 people can inspire 3 people, and then 3 people can inspire
the entire world.
Exactly.
See, dreaming.
And that's literally, you know what kind of just clicked when I just kind of like, I just had like, because I have like 5,000 mini thoughts sometimes in like 1 second, and it'll go, but I promise it's connected. So like, literally when we're just saying that, going to one person and 2 people and 3 people, whatever, then it's like, okay, then now they're inspired, or now that they see the world the way we see it, even though we were trying to get away from saying it that way.
Yeah. And
it literally makes sense because your podcast is through Jeremiah's eyes. Yes. Like, I don't know if that was a slow moment for me. Either way, I don't care. But like, that was just perfect. It was just like a aha moment. So yeah, I just had to notice that. But love that.
I like it. And the thing that you're saying about like the positive and negative transaction and everything, I feel like there are so many positive things. Well, of course, there are positive things in life, negative things that happen in life. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there are so many more positive things that happen, but those negative things stick out.
Yeah.
Maybe because they're more rare. I don't know. Same thing with like people. There's so many good people, but then if somebody does something wrong, then you're like, no, everybody can't trust nobody.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody,
that's true. That's so true.
I feel like that's one of the things that holds people back, and one of the things that held me back. I was like, there was so much negative that I wasn't appreciating the positive. Yeah. But now I'm just like, I don't know, maybe it's naive. I have the mindset of a kid wholeheartedly. Like, I'd be happy all the time.
Yeah. Literally. I think that's the way to go. And obviously it's natural and very human for us to, do that or focus on the negative sometimes. But it might just be because it's not ideal to us.
Yeah.
Because you go through life, you never expect for anything negative to happen. You never want for anything to happen, negative to happen. But when it does, then you're like, oh wow, I can't believe this happened to me, or oh wow, I can't believe this is my situation. And I think we focus on it because it's never something that we imagine for ourselves, or it was never a part of our path to fulfillment or path to happiness. So it's like when negative things happen, we're like, what? Like, why is this happening? And then you dwell and overthink about stuff like that. But I just think it's really just shock to humans. So we're just like when you see like how people have a natural reaction, like, okay, everybody in here has curly hair, and then one person walks in and they have straight hair, and they're like, well, I'm gonna focus on the person with straight hair because they're different. And I feel like we focus on the negative because it's different and it is more rare. Yeah. So it's hard to focus on all the positive because we're like, what's that? What's that negative thing over there? Like, what are you doing? So what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. So it's definitely something that, another one of those things we have to actively be like, okay, this is negative, but this doesn't deserve all of my time. I need to shift gears. I need to get back on that path of like, okay, but all this positive stuff is going on and all this is happening. So let me go do that.
I agree completely. Well, I end off every episode with a tradition. Got 2 questions. Okay. The first question, what are your 3 things that you live by, or your 3 keys to life?
Ooh. Let me think. Dang, I wish I would have known this question ahead of time, because I would have been prepared.
That's what everybody said. You can't do that. Off the dome.
3 keys that I live by. Wow, it's so crazy that you asked me this now, because even if you probably would have asked me this a month ago, it would have been completely different. 3 things you live by. Do what makes you happy. Don't dwell on the little things because they don't matter. That's 2. And 3 is be unapologetically and authentically yourself. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that's my thing for sure.
And then second, if you could have a conversation with a 12-year-old you, so finishing up middle school, about to go to high school, what would it be about, or what advice would you give and why?
Well, okay, middle school, about to go to high school. Well, would I have the conversation? Yes. Well, would I? Because then when I learn the thing, that's kind of. I think that I would. And then you said, what would I say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What would the conversation be about, or what advice would you give?
I definitely would have the conversation. I think that I would tell myself that, nothing is permanent. So your situation right now really freaking sucks, because that was a really rough time in my life, honestly. But I think I would say, like, nothing is permanent, so don't think that this stage of your life will last forever. 2, I'd be like, I don't know, enjoy everything that's about to come to you, because some things, that might be the last time you'll, think. But I really don't think I would drop too many gems. I'm not gonna lie. Because it's like, obviously, you get asked your question like, oh, what did you tell your past self? And I'm like, I tell myself to change this, that. But then it's like, well, then I'd be a completely different person probably. Because then it's like, I don't think we were supposed to have all the answers. And we still don't have all the answers. Like, literally even 10 years from now, we're going to be like, dang, what would I tell, like, 21-year-old myself, But that's not really the point. It's the journey. So I would give myself little tips of just like, okay, keep your head up, stay strong, recognize that everything happens for a reason. But literally it's just that, because I don't know. I wouldn't want to drop too many gems. Really, I wouldn't, because I don't think that I would be the same person that I am right now. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that.
But just based off of this conversation, I think I answered this in like my first episode, but new answer. I want to have a conversation about what I wanted to do and what I was dreaming about, what I would think about then. So I'm more so learning about my past self than trying to change my past self. Yeah. So I don't want anything to change, but I also want to be able to dive in and see, like, what was my mindset when I was in that age. Yeah. I feel like I could learn from that now, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too, because obviously during that time, like, we wanted different things were going on in our life. But I think for me personally, I think I definitely was, I wouldn't say I was worried about the wrong things, because I was worried about some good things. But as far as, like, I definitely was worried about what people were thinking way too much, like that. But, yeah, I don't know. I think we can learn from our past selves, to your point. Like, I think there's definitely something to analyze there. Like, thinking, we can definitely think about that. Yeah. It's not going to be the bad overthinking, because it's about ourselves. But, yeah, I don't know, man.
Such a deep conversation, but thank you so much for joining me on this podcast episode and sharing your beautiful, creative, and deep thinking mind, and also time with me, as well as being an amazing friend as well. Anything you would like to promote, shameless plug, thing that you have going on that you like to say something about, or last words that you like to leave the audience with?
I don't think. You guys can follow my art page at artsalien, but the E is a 3. But I don't really have anything to promote. Keep listening to Jeremiah's podcast. That's what I'm going to promote.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much again. Be on the lookout for more episodes, and also stay tuned for all the special guests that I'll have on in the future. I will continue to have amazing conversations with incredibly dope people that I met throughout my many adventures through life. Also, follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Through Jeremiah's Eyes for updates and more content. And it would also be amazing if you could like, share, and subscribe to my podcast so that you don't miss another episode, and so that we can continue to grow this community. Thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode for another look through my eyes. See you soon.